everyone. Come on in and sit down for this Ready to Love a review episode. Oh my goodness, what is this? A 5 or 6? I don't even remember anymore. But it was good. It was good. I'm really enjoying the season, y'all. I'm really enjoying the season. But let's go ahead and get straight into it. You know what? I also like this format a little bit better. I think before I used to jump around. It's helping me out in my reviews. I'll tell you that much. I like the date format as well. I mean, I like the big clubhouse too, but we know that's not going to happen again. People can't be taking off 2 weeks of work to be in no clubhouse for 2 weeks of filming. So at least we get sort of these date formats. We get a lot of dates, even though this week we didn't get a date with Mercedes at all or Mark Anthony at all. But we took care of some old business. The old business was who was going to go home, and Corvaya went home. Bye, Corvaya. Bye, Corvaya. She said maybe Demario will find her in the high rise or in the bar drinking some Pinot Grigio or something, some expensive wine or something. Maybe that's where they'll find her. She said, I ain't a gold digger. I ain't a gold digger, but I'm not messing with no broke man. And so she said, I'll just go on home and maybe love will find me later. Maybe so, because once she went home, Demario was in a pickle. He was really in a pickle because he really only had 2 matches, y'all. He had Jeffrie, which we know went sour. We're going to talk about that date. And then he had Corvaya. So once those 2 went home, it was really too late for him to make a connection with another woman. He had all pretty much already staked his claim on those 2 women, and he bet wrong. This is like going to Vegas and you walk in with $1,000 and you broke within 1 hour. You're like, dang, we supposed to be here 3 more days and I already done lost $1,000. I might as well go home. That was Demario. He lost all his money in the first 2 episodes. And so guess what? He had to go home and pack up and say, I see y'all back at home because I lost all my money here in Vegas. So that was a little bit of the old business they had to take care of. We had to take a little bit of the old business with Jeffrie and Sue-Ann. They are still going at it. These 2, Jeffrie. We're going to talk about her date too, y'all. We're going to talk about her date because like I told you, Jeffrie is a professional. She's a professional. And I hope y'all watch this episode really good because this girl is skilled at what she does. She has been doing this a long time. This is not her first time at the rodeo. Jeffrie's a professional. I don't know how. She probably been doing this for a good 10, 15 years, y'all. She's good at what she does. First date we had the date with Cynthia and Anthony. Oh, and Cynthia was like, shoot, when he came around the corner, he looked good. I can't say it in her Haitian accent, but she said he looked good. I really like these 2 together. I believe they have good balancing energy between them. Remember, Cynthia, one of the things Cynthia said she wanted to work on was resting in her femininity. She said she can be hardcore because she's had to be independent out here, but she don't want to live a life like that anymore. She wants to be able to rest a little bit more and order girly drinks like she just did. Maybe before she used to order Hennessy, and now she said, let me order a fruity drink just to get into the mood. I'm with you, Cynthia. Keep it going, girl. It's looking good on you. Keep it going. And the reason why I like Anthony with Cynthia is because Anthony's not going to be the type of guy who always brings out that other sort of not non-feminine side of Cynthia. Because some men bring out that aggressive side of women, make women buck up. Because the men be trying to run over them, and the next thing you know, the women got to pull out that more masculine side to deal with this man that's a little bit too much. So what I like about Anthony is he's not going to do that. He's not going to try to wake the sleeping giant in Cynthia, and I think he's going to nurture that part in her and encourage that part to be the part that she shows. This is why I like these 2. I love the balancing energy. I mean, yeah, it helps that they're both Haitian. They both share a similar culture. They both have kids. He wants another daughter or son going forward. He wants a namesake. I believe she will be open to that as well. I really like these 2 together, and I hope they make it. I really hope that these 2 make it and they go on to have a long, lasting relationship. I get some genuineness from Anthony. I really do. Although he kind of messed up a little bit. He was like, hey, don't you have younger brothers or something? Or you're the youngest of brothers? And I was like, what's he talking about? But then we realized he was mixing up Cynthia with Sue-Ann. Oh, good Lord. I hope that ain't a sign that he's out here playing a game. I really hope Anthony's paying attention and he's not playing no game out here and he messed up his lines. But I hope it's just a recall issue memory, maybe like long COVID. Maybe, COVID be messing up people's memories. I know it messed up mine. COVID messed up my memory. But I'll say this, I really hope not. But right now, I'm really, really loving these two together. Cynthia's one of my favorite on the show. I told you that from the beginning. That Cynthia was one of my favorites, and she continues to be one of my favorite ladies on the show this season. Now on to day 2, which was with Jeffrie and Demario. Woo, professional Jeffrie. Let me tell you. So let's get comfortable for this one, y'all. Let's get comfortable for this date because I'm going to break down with you how professional Jeffrie handled this. First of all, I don't know if to call Jeffrie a professional gaslighter or Karen. But she probably both of them. She's probably a gaslighter and a Karen. Because now that we see on this date how she described Demario as Jekyll and Hyde, and I'm thinking that was really a harsh term to use for what I saw. I don't look at it as Jekyll and Hyde. Now I go back and hear how she talked about what Blake did and how she referred to how Blake was basically stalking her. And I thought, wow, is he that crazy? Now, we already know that Blake has got issues. So I think he was a really easy target. And it was really easy to believe for some people all of Jeffrie's story because there was probably a lot of truth to it. But I believe, like I said, she put hot sauce on it. I know now for sure Jeffrie puts hot sauce on stuff. And she, just like Karens do out here in the world, she whistles, dog whistles, when it's not that serious of a situation. Because the way that she described Demario is not the way it went down on camera. It absolutely is not. So let me tell you the things that I saw that Jeffrie did where I say she's a professional. First of all, Jeffrie walks in saying at the beginning of the date, oh, I'm really looking forward to this date, to seeing Demario because Demario was real standoffish on the boat. Okay, so if you didn't really know what went on the boat and you're just listening to Jeffrie's story, you'd be like, oh, really? Yeah, because y'all had a connection. He was standoffish. Yeah, girl, he was really standoffish. I mean, he wasn't really talking to me or looking at me or doing anything. If you was just a friend and you didn't know nothing about the kiss, you will be believing in Jeffrie because this is how she tells the story. She tells partial stories. So this is a partial story. She's not telling the background information. So when she gets on the date with Demario, she's over here talking about, yeah, your attitude really changed on the boat. And Demario is looking over there, looking at her like, she acted like I wasn't on the boat, that I didn't see what I saw. So she's like, yeah, I don't know why you were so standoffish or what was the problem. She's like, I had a crazy day and everything, but, what was your problem on the boat? She said, I really don't get it. Your energy was all different. And Demario was over there looking like, is this girl think I'm dumb? Is she trying to play me? She is over here playing dumb like nothing could have happened that could have changed the attitude of Demario. This is what I didn't like. I said, why is she trying to pretend like nothing happened and that Demario's attitude or change in attitude, change in demeanor came out of left field? This is what she gets this Jekyll and Hyde. Like it just came out of thin air, that nothing happened. She didn't do anything. It doesn't matter whether or not she was within her rights to kiss Marc Anthony. Of course she's within her rights. She can choose to kiss whomever she wants. But then to say that your attitude or your change in demeanor comes out of left field is two different things. It's completely two different things. And this girl was acting as if there was nothing that went down on that boat that could have changed his demeanor. That was the first part when I said, oh, she knows how to play dumb and shift the responsibility to you that you're the one with the problem. She did nothing. She's a professional. She is a professional. Now remember, Jeffrie was the one that was saying she wants a provider, a protector, and a leader. But we have figured out in all these episodes, Jeffrie's not leading. Jeffrie's not following anyone. No one. Jeffrie's not going to follow no man. She keeps saying she wants a provider and a protector. Well, how can you ask for a protector when you going off and kissing random men? Here, Demario was like, I don't understand why you would put yourself in that position and put yourself vulnerable to another man like that. In a lot of ways, you could say that he was being protective over her. She could say he's being jealous, yeah, but he could also be a person who was also looking out for her protection and saying, why would you make yourself vulnerable like that and kissing another man in public? You said you wanted to protect her. Well, here I am to protect you, but you don't want to be protected. Then she says she wants a leader, but she ain't following the direction of no man. Anytime a man tries to correct Jeffrie, Jeffrie jumps down his throat and tells him, are you the one with the problem? You trying to exercise too much control over me. This is the problem when people say they want to be led. They want to be led in the direction they want to go. They don't want to be led and actually follow the leader. No, they wanted to dictate where they want to go and they just want you to drive. That's two different things. It's two different things when you ask me to just drive and take you where you want to go versus you say, hey, I don't care where you're going. I'm going to just ride shotgun. Jeffrie not trying to ride shotgun in no man's world. She ain't trying to run shotgun. What Jeffrie's trying to get you to do is driving Miss Daisy. She wants to tell you where she wants to go. She wants to be able to sit in the back seat and you take her wherever she wants to go. That is not a leader and that's not a follower. Jeffrie wants a chauffeur. That's what she wants. She wants a chauffeur. And Demario was like, that's not me. That's not me. Demario was like, well, you act like you couldn't do anything differently. And she was like, what you expect me to do? There it goes, flipping it. That's not the question. The question is, you always have an option to do something differently. And what Jeffrie said was, I couldn't do anything differently because you didn't do anything differently, Demario. What does it have to do with what I did? Whether or not I was chasing you down or not, Jeffrie, whether or not I was banging down your door, which we know you don't even like because you didn't like it when Blake was doing it. It doesn't matter what I do. You still have control over yourself. And what you didn't choose was you still chose to kiss a man on a boat in front of everybody and let him mark his territory. That's what you chose to do. But Jeffrie wants to pretend like she didn't have a choice. And the only reason she kissed Marc Anthony was because of what Demario didn't do. Gaslighter. Professional gaslighter, professional taking no responsibility for their behavior and putting all of the blame on you and saying whatever decisions I made, whether they're right or wrong, it's your fault I made the decision. Girl, she's good at what she does. She is good at what she does. I know she done fooled a lot of people out here. Jeffrie has fooled a lot of people, especially with that little nasally voice she uses. She has fooled a lot of people. And Jeffrie was like, you didn't apply no pressure. Pressure, you didn't like it when you so-called said that Blake was applying pressure. You didn't like pressure. So all of a sudden now I needed to apply a pressure so you didn't kiss another man. But when another man was keeping track of you and all this other kind of stuff, that wasn't the pressure you wanted. Girl, she changes her mind in every situation to fit the ability for her to do what she wants to do. Jeffrie's a professional. She said it's alarming. She said she is alarmed by Demario's behavior and I can't have no man around here like that trying to control me. She said, I said I know I wanted a leader, but I really don't want no leader. I just want you to drive and take me wherever I want to go. I want to be able to sit in the back seat and tell you what to do. I'm not trying to follow you. Demario said, I dodged 3 bullets with Jeffrie. You sure did, Demario. He said, 1, I dodged the bullet because I never seen her without no makeup. You right about that. He said she doesn't take constructive criticism well. Are you right about that? And she goes around kissing men just because she had a one-on-one date with him. Are you right about that? And you dodged another bullet, Demario. You ain't heard her real voice. Because I'm telling you, that squeaky, nasally voice that she uses, that's not her real voice either. She pulls that voice out in the beginning of the conversations in order to reel you in, put your guards down, because it sounds sort of childlike and juvenile. It makes you put your guards down. And when she wants to raise up and snap back at you, you notice how much more bass comes into that voice? By the time she gets to the end of the conversation, that nasally voice is gone and it's all a bass. It's all base. Demario's like, I saw what I saw when I saw it. You're not going to make me believe something different than what I saw, and I'm moving accordingly. And what Demario was doing is the same thing I'm telling Morgan she needs to do with Tony, and that is don't listen to your ears or watch your eyes. And what Demario is able to do with Jeffrie is, I'm not listening to this little nasally voice in my ears. I'm going to pay attention to what I see, and I'm going to act accordingly. And he's moving according in his eyes, not what she's feeding him. All these other guys out here, later on we see Blue going for what she's saying. And when Demario said this little thing about what would your kid say about you kissing another man, if you think about that, it sounds crazy on its own. But what he's saying is, Jeffrie always tries to talk about how her most important thing is being a mother, being a role model for her kids, doing this and that. And what he was getting to was, you talk about how you want to be a role model for your kids are the most important, but your behavior doesn't match what you say. That's not role model behavior, what you did. That's what he was saying. He was saying, you talk about this family life that you want, this motherly role you love, and all this other kind of stuff, which is good. It sounds good. But when we see you moving about in the streets, you're not moving like that. You're moving completely different. That's what he was really saying. And she twisted the words all the way around to make it sound like it was some sinister comment from Demario. I was team Demario with Jeffrie. I'm telling you, Jeffrie is a professional, y'all. A professional. And then we went on this date number 3, which was the group date, which was messy. I know the producers put Marci up, or whatever. I don't know if her name is Marci or Marcia. I know they put her up on the one that set this group date up, because why is Jeffrie at a group date with Blake? And then why is Marci on a group date with Blue? Because the last date that Blue and Marci had, he already said he don't like her. When she said she doesn't like to do anything outdoors, he was like, she ain't the one for me. Like I said, a lot of men, she ain't gonna be the one for him. But she sets up this group date with the yoga and the symbols or the whatever it is, the chakra and all this. And Blake was like, this is hurting my ears. Blake is a bump on a log. I tell you, he is so boring and dry. I tell you, but I guess he's making for good TV. Between him and Jeffrie, they pretty much the talk of the whole show. But anyway, they go up on this group date, and they do these little vision boards and everything. And Jeffrie gets all into Blake's vision board, talking about all it is Rolexes and luxury items. And Blake says, no, it's all about time. Jeffrie couldn't leave it alone. She had to dig at that vision board. And let me tell you, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was like, why are all his things on his vision board are luxury items? Because he's superficial. We already know that. He tried to turn it around and talk about, no, it's about time. I'm with Jeffrie. It was about superficial stuff. It really was. Time is a luxury. Well, if time was a luxury, you could have put your watches up there to represent time. And then you could have put that the other luxury items were things like spending time with family, vacation, or something else. You could have done that. There was no people on his vision board. Not one fake person was on a Blues vision board. It was just him with some houses and some watches. I'm telling you, I don't know why any woman would want to be with Blake. I don't know why. Blake don't care about anyone but himself. That's why his whole vision board was a watch and pictures of inanimate objects. And Jeffrie called it out. Jeffrie called, but her vision board wasn't no better. Her vision board, she said her vision board was pictures of family and people. And then did you hear her say, yeah, and it's a picture of the man leading the kids. She loved to drive that point home. Yeah, I want a leader. You don't want a leader, Jeffrie. You want a man with money to pay your bills. That's the provider that she wants. Okay, she wants to protect her against other people who are going to come at her, because I'm telling you, Jeffrie makes a lot of enemies out here. With this personality, she got a lot of people that don't like her. So she needs a protector of that, okay? And she needs a leader, not a leader so she can follow the leader, but she needs a leader who's willing to drive so she can sit in the back seat and tell him where to go. I'm telling you, Jeffrie is something else. And then, Blue's vision board, and Marci thought, me and Blue have something in common because of a Blue's vision board. No, they didn't have anything in common. Blue's vision board was all about fishing, boating, and being outdoors. Didn't Marci just tell me she don't want to do nothing outdoors? You are not what Blue is looking for, Marci. She twisted the whole scenario around. And as you can see, Blue wasn't falling for Marci. He was like, no. He said he was kind of more interested in Jeffrie because Jeffrie was talking about she wants to cultivate a family. These men better stop listening to Jeffrie and watch what she does. Blue, don't fall under the spell. Don't fall under the spell. But Marci was trying to get Blake to defend himself and say, hey, you know, what happened between you and Jeffrie? He was like, I don't want to talk about it. That's beneath me. I'm over that. I'm over that. He didn't want to get in it. He didn't want to get down and dirty because one thing Blake has figured out is that if he gets into a war of words with Jeffrie, he's going to lose. He is going to lose. If he gets in a tussle match, a word of wars with Jeffrie, he is going to lose because she is much better at throwing shades, throwing daggers, and saying stuff because she's been doing it a lot longer than him. He may be the military police, ex-police officer, ex-military, or whatever. He may be used to questioning people in an interrogation room. And just like she called Advocate Sue, Sue may be used to a courtroom. But Jeffrie says, I'm the queen of the streets. Blake, you may be the king, okay, in the interrogation room, bring him into the security office. And Jeffrie, you may be, Blake, you may be the queen in the courtroom. But Jeffrie is letting everybody know, I'm the queen of the streets. And when it comes to the streets, I know how to throw more shade and more daggers than any of you people. I'm the professional out here in the streets, and not you. But then we went on to this date number 4. It's date number 4, right, with Morgan and Tony. Tony is smooth operator, another professional. He's been doing this a very long time. And I like Morgan. I really like Morgan, but I'm starting to realize with Morgan, she's got a bad picker. It's so ironic that the young lady who talks about the most important thing is a man of God that she wants, but she falls for the man who's obviously the biggest player on the show. And that's Tony. Tony is the biggest player on this show, maybe even more so than Marc Anthony, because we know Marc Anthony, but might be as well. But let me tell you, Tony is the biggest player on the show. And how is it that the church lady picks out the biggest player on the show? And then as her runner-up choice is Lyndon. I know she probably using Lyndon to make Tony jealous, but the fact that she even chose Lyndon as the runner-up, another one. A bartender out here living with his brother or something like this. Lyndon ain't serious. Lyndon is a booty call. And you mean to tell me that Morgan, the church lady's 2 biggest picks are Lyndon the booty call and Tony the player? Morgan, your picker is way off, which tells me something about what are you really looking for. Morgan likes drama. I believe Morgan is attracted to toxic drama situations. I really do believe that because I can't see how of all the men, these are the 2 she would pick. Being that she's the church lady. But she was like, a Tony makes my panties wet. Morgan was like, ain't no man doing it for me like Tony is. She was hanging all over him. She was like, I don't even want this date to end. So right now, she's just trying to get to a point where she makes a Tony jealous enough of Lyndon that he comes at her a little bit harder because like she said later on in the show, Tony is aggressive and that's what she likes. She likes an aggressive man. The only problem with it, Morgan, is that Tony doesn't reserve his aggressiveness with just you. The reason he's aggressive is because he's full of confidence and he knows how to go after women. He's a professional. It's not just for you. That's the problem. That's the problem right there, that his pursuit, that his chase of women is real strong. It's a strong game. But the problem is it's just not reserved for you. And that's really what is going to be a problem with Morgan and Tony for the long run. Because he takes me as the type of person where he does like the hunt. He loves the hunt. He loves the chase. And right now he is chasing Morgan. He is trying to hunt her down. But I'm wondering that once he chases you, once he devours you, once he consumes you, will he then have another need to chase another woman? And that's what I believe with Tony. Tony the Tiger. That's what I should start calling him. Tony the Tiger. He can't just have one meal. He's got to have multiple meals. But we'll see. I hope it does end happily. I'm not going to shoot the relationship down because I want everybody on this show to find love. And you know what? If Morgan can tame a Tony the Tiger, I'm all for it. If she can tame this tiger that's been running out here in the wild all this long, and she can bring him home and make him a pet, girl, I'm gonna give you your roses. I'm gonna give you your flowers for that right now. But it's a big job, and I just wonder why she has chosen this big of a job. This don't seem like a task that I would have taken on. It's a big task, Morgan, but good luck to you, girl. Good luck to you. And then we had date number 5 with Blake and Jonique, and this date was as dry as a rice cake. It was dry as some burnt toast. You know what? Actually, Blake doesn't know how to give any other kind of date except a dry date. His dates are so dry. This guy has zero personality, zero. And then Jonique was like, "I like Blake." In the beginning, she said that because he thinks before he speaks, and I like that. No. Because even once he speaks, you want to say, that didn't come out right. You need to go back and think about that again. He's actually the opposite. He doesn't think before he speaks. He just speaks. And in fact, he should think a little bit more before he speaks, because if he thought a little bit more about it, then he wouldn't let it come out his mouth. Because when she started asking him, how's it going for you so far on the show? And he says, well, if you ask me a general question, I'm going to give you a general answer. He didn't do much thinking on that. He just said exactly what he was thinking, and it came out right out his mouth. It's sort of condescending. You know, he don't really have no interest in Jonique. He didn't have any interest in her and no real respect for her. He's not interested in her. He was condescending to her. But now we also know what might be the problem with Jonique was, and he said, what do you do with your spare time? And Jonique says, I'm pretty much around my family. We be at home turning up and drinking and partying. Girl, Jonique. And you wonder why you haven't found some decent man. Come up with some better answers, Jonique. She's 30 years old. She is 30 years old. She is not a young girl anymore. She running this big business she talks about. And let me tell you, that was a ghetto answer. That was a ghetto answer that pretty much on the weekend I'm just hanging out with my family, us turning up and drinking. Girl, Jonique. Go back, regroup, do something different, because that's not cool. That was not a good answer. Blake was like, we just got too much life experience gap between us. He put it politically correct. But he was a bit condescending to her. He really was. But she caught the shade. And by the end of the day, she was like, you got any questions for me? He was like, nah, I ain't got no questions. He was like, I don't need to know nothing else about you. I know all I need to know. And Jonique was like, that's fine, because I don't want to answer no questions of yours anyway. I ain't interested in you. Maybe this is what happened to Jeffrie, that after Blake realized he wasn't interested in Jeffrie no more, after he interrogated her, maybe that's why Jeffrie got mad at him, because once she found out that he wasn't interested in her, she got mad. And that's what just happened with Jonique. Once Jonique realized that Blake wasn't really interested in her, not one bit, and he was being condescending and a little bit putting her down, she was like, I don't like you. I don't like you. Ooh, this date was horrible, y'all. Like I said, it was as dry as some burnt toast. Dry. Anybody got some water so we could wash this date down our throat? Because it's stuck right here. It's so dry. That date got stuck in my throat. It was so dry. But once they got to the deliberation room, everybody was giving their final analysis and saying who they liked and didn't like. Let me see. What was they saying? Morgan, of course, was saying she was still stuck on Tony. Marcia was like, she likes Blue. I don't know why, Marci. Blue don't like you. Blue does not like you. Cynthia, of course, was like, I'm team Anthony, but she gonna have to fight off these other women, because there was a lot of women calling out Anthony's name. Anthony. So Cynthia said she ready to fight for him, though. Susu, of course, said she's with Blake, and said that Blake can act any kind of way he wants to with other women as long as he don't act that way with me. No, Sue, don't do that. Don't do that. That's another mistake a women make. They think, oh, well, he cheated on all these other women, but he is not going to cheat on me. He will eventually. If he treats all these other people like this, eventually he'll treat you like that too. He just hasn't gotten to you yet, and you just haven't done anything that he doesn't like yet. to make him treat you like he's going to treat like he treats all these other people. Listen, people, don't go off of the way people just treat you. Also go off the way you see them treat other people, because people cannot be mean to all these other people but then only be nice to you. It just isn't your turn yet, but eventually it will be your turn. Don't overlook it, Sue. Don't overlook the way that Blake treats everybody else. And then Jeffrie, of course, says she's still into Marc Anthony. And Marc Anthony be all up on Jeffrie, rubbing on her booty, her hips when they be dancing. Every time you see a dancing scene, Marc Anthony is all up on Jeffrie. And I never see him with Mercedes, so I don't know what's going on with that. But then you hear people like Cynthia say, well, Marc Anthony has made it pretty clear he doesn't want to date women with kids. And we know Jeffrie got 3 kids. So what is Marc Anthony doing with Jeffrie? Is he playing with her? Is he trying to say, hey, I just want to get in bed with you? Is that what he's trying to do? He playing with Jeffrie. He is really playing with Jeffrie. But Jeffrie said, he opens me up. He goes deep on things that other men don't do. Girl, alrighty then. Sue Ann says she's not into Demario. Mercedes says she's not into Demario. Jeffrie definitely ain't into Demario. And then she started telling all the women how the date was completely disturbing. There come that Karen. Jeffrie's a Karen. She started describing how she was deeply disturbed by Demario. She acted like Demario was like a stalker or some kind of a mean person on that date. He was none of that. None of that at all. And Sue Ann was trying to call her out on it. And then you know what? Jeffrie came back with that sharp tongue, that street tongue. She's better at it, and called her Advocate Sue. Advocate Sue. I'm telling you, don't mess with Jeffrie. She will come for your neck. For Morgan, it was a no on Blake and Demario. Jonique was like a no on Blake. Morgan was like a Blake kind of attacked me. Of course he did. He interrogates every woman. He interrogates every woman that he encounters. And Marci said a no for Marc Anthony. Absolutely a no for Marc Anthony. So then, of course, it ended up being that Demario was on the bottom. And then also, of course, it ended up being that Blake was on the bottom. So Jonique took out Demario and had to tell Demario, we got to let you go. Demario should have seen it coming because, like I said, he went to Vegas. He put all his money on Jeffrie and Corvaya. And he lost all his money on those 2 within the first 3 episodes. He was broke. All his $1,000 gone with the first 2 episodes. He got to fly on back home. He can't be staying on this trip no longer. He bet big on the 2 of the slowest horses in the stable. Bye, Demario. That's too bad. I like Demario, but he bet wrong, people. He bet wrong. And then Cynthia gave Blake some real good information. Said, you know what? You kind of blew it when you had that opportunity on that date to stand up for Jeffrie, and you kind of just let it alone because, you know, I guess you didn't want to get down in the mud. You didn't want to defend yourself. As he said, but you know what? You should have stood up and said, I didn't say those things. I didn't do those things. And stop trying to act like you above it all. Because you know what? You letting this old girl Jeffrie take you down because Jeffrie is taking you down over she's able to say whatever she wants to say. So, you know, he got to stay, but the producers want Blake to stay too, because I'm telling you, Blake and Jeffrie are good for TV, way better than Demario was. So we already knew he wasn't going to go home. But Cynthia gave him some advice, but it wouldn't help because Jeffrie ain't the only one that don't like Blake. Blake is what he is. It's just that Jeffrie's even worse. Jeffrie's a Karen. Jeffrie is a professional gaslighter and a Karen. But anyway, that's it, y'all. This episode was really good. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the season of this year. It's a lot of laughs. It is a lot of laughs. But tell me what y'all think, because I know I said a lot during this video. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.